Yeah. I want to thank you, Miss Melanie, in appearing in Namibian dress for you, which is very nice, and I think all the pictures are about her today. As we have 15 minutes to go, let's start very quickly. First of all, about UXP. 5 years ago, Cybernetica was thinking as original X-Road author, which is dated 15 years ago already. 5 years ago, we thought that, OK, we need new generation of X-Road in Estonia. And that's why we invented UXP technology, which is now implemented and in production in Estonia, in Finland, in Namibia, in Haiti, and some other smaller projects all around the world. OK, let's talk about Namibian project.
OK, good afternoon, everybody. Just to give you an overview of what Namibia is, or where Namibia is, we just got our independence on the 21st of March, 1990. We are called the Smile of Africa, because if you look at the African map, you will see that it is indeed the Smile of Africa. And anyone who has been to Africa, especially Namibia, would say that indeed we are a warm country. We have a very vast landscape, and the majority of the population lives within the rural areas. If you have watched movies or love movies, you would know that Beyond Borders, Mad Max, all of those were filmed within Namibia. So we're a population of 1.2, of which I indicated 50% and more are within the rural areas. Okay, the next slide. All right. So our journey with regards to eGovernment is just a few years after independence, we had a vision which we named Vision 2030. And within Vision 2030, our political leaders wanted to see Namibia as an economic, how do I call it, a digital entity. And that also then brought us to actually develop the eGovernment policy, and that was signed by Cabinet in 2005. We saw the need to just have a readiness assessment to see how far or how ready Namibia is to implement eGovernment. We got a rating of 2.5 out of 4, which we actually felt was good, an indication that we can indeed move forward. In 2014, we signed an agreement between the Estonian government, the academy, and in collaboration with Cybernetica to implement the interoperability framework. And since then, and at the end of beginning of this year, we actually implemented the whole framework.
Yeah, let's deep dive into the project now, but we discussed with Melanie that we would like to give you more idea about phases of the project, not all the details of the project itself, but maybe more general timeline and plot for the project. So first of all, you need to question yourself why you are doing your e-governance or interoperability project. Is it just for cost efficiency, for happiness of the citizens, officials, visitors, or you need acknowledgement from abroad to attract more investments and visitors abroad?
Yeah. As indicated previously, having 50% of our population in rural areas and the vast landscape that we have, it was important to reach our citizens. Vision 2030, which also looked at making sure that we've got a digital, are in a digital environment, looked at how we can best provide services effectively and efficiently. And being an African country and how we would like to get investment, we wanted to see or have recognition that we are an IT-savvy country. And that brought us to implement e-government, cost-effective, making sure that our citizens are happy. Because if your citizen is not happy with what you are providing to them, investors will not come, because that's also an additional happiness rating that you can get. And that drove us to innovate by making sure that we've got an interoperability framework.
Okay, when you start the project, you need background information. What processes need to be improved? Where you can cut your costs, where you can cut your interaction time with officials, because lost time is coming from people's working time. They are not making work, they are not paying taxes on this time when they are interacting with officials in offices. Who are the main contributors to data exchange? What is their interest? Where the data is coming from? And who are the consumers of the project?
Okay. Yeah, so we actually had the whole engagement, understanding who shares what kind of information. Whether it's, because most of this was done through FTP, and that is not very secure. But wanted to, and that actually drove the interest, because now people could see that they could, in a very shorter period, get the type of information they wanted and interact with each other.
Mm-hmm. On this phase, we visited like 30 different entities in Namibia to get the background information during meetings. So, when you know what to do, then you need to set the scene. Set the legalization, what standards, what laws, bylaws needs to be done, and what is achievement at the end.
Yes. So with the assistance of the eGovernment Academy, we were able to list the different types of legal instruments that need to be enacted to ensure that we have a successful implementation. We still have them all in draft form because it goes back and forth, stakeholder engagements, making sure that you do not leave anything out. But hopefully next year we'll be able to tell you that all is in place and we are going forward. So we engaged with all stakeholders just to get their appreciation of the project that we're trying to have. And then also to have, knowing that the initial idea came from our Prime Minister, who's currently the President of Namibia, Dr. Hage Geingob. He was the forerunner, actually the one who ignited us to take this path. So we engaged with him. We also engaged with the Office of the Attorney General, engaged with the private sector, just to get them to understand that we are moving in an e-direction.
When you engage, then you need to get the people know the solution you're proposing on the process level, on the technology level, and so on. That's why we made a series of workshops with government officials, with private sector representatives, and also made the technology training for the administrators, service developers, and all interested parties in Namibia.
Yeah, the idea is that we want to take ownership. We do not want to be totally reliant on our consultants. And therefore, we emphasized on the fact that we need to be capacitated in such a manner that once Cybernetica is gone, we will be able to develop ourselves, we'll be able to administer the systems ourselves, and that it is going to be a Namibian e-government and not a replica of the Estonian one. We therefore had a test environment which our developers are playing with, as well as our administrators are playing with. And they were able to then build, replicate some of, actually build demo systems to make sure that we will be able to, once we move over to the live environment, that everything is working as should be.
Cybernetica is not going anywhere. We are still with you.
We're not going to be in the movie.
But this is also our interest, because we are seeing that in developing countries, the most interesting ideas are generated. It's not just about replica of Estonian, but the Namibians have presented us very interesting ideas, what to do with our product, what services to be implemented, and so on. So it's actually very interesting cooperation. So that's why we are pushing knowledge to local countries and supporting organizations as well. The next phase is how to achieve your goals. You need money and time for that. We need the specific project plan for the project.
Yes. The Office of the Prime Minister, which I work for, or specifically more the Department of IT, Public Service IT Management, was mandated to take the governing, or to become the governing authority. But we had to collaborate with the various OMAs and ensure that critical resources, human resources, were identified, and that these were also then trained, so that the entire government works together and that there's nobody left behind, as the UNDP said, but it's also a slogan we have in Namibia for Harambe. We want to move together. So we have developed various policies to ensure that the procedures are hinged upon these policies. The standard operating, all of that will then be done upon these policies so that they do not work independent, but that there's a standard way of operation within the government of Namibia. We had emulated the X-Road. I think those who were here yesterday saw the X-Road, the picture of how it looks like. Ours is similar to that, but we have called it Namroad. So already starting by the naming conventions to show that it is ours.
And project plan always includes the technical solution, what sites we are going to use, how the networking is done, how the entities are connecting to each other. And behind that is next phase is implementation. So we install the servers, set up the network, be sure that all administrators are knowledgeable about procedures, and do the through testing of the solution before going live.
Yeah. As we all know, most of the developers know, you first have to have a test before you put it over to the live environment. So the developers within my division have a demo where GIPF and Ministry, GIPF is the Government Institution Pension Fund, and the Ministry of Home Affairs is responsible for the National Population Registry System. When people want to claim their pension funds, either at the end of their retirement or on the death, it was very difficult for them to actually, or the GIPF, to verify that this person is indeed who they say they are, or indeed dependent of this person. So that exchange of data actually became successful. So GIPF is able to get data from Ministry of Home Affairs, verify that this person is who they say they are, and who the dependents are, whether this person indeed died. Because I may come and claim saying that my dad has passed away and I need to claim his benefits. But then GIPF can then verify with Ministry of Home Affairs that this person is no longer on the face of the earth. So those were one of the tests that we have done, which was successful, and we are moving it over to the live environment. Yes. We have also then signed a maintenance and support with Cybernetica, so they're actually not really gone yet. They will soon leave Namibia. But yeah, no, that relationship that we have built will grow from strength to strength. So while we are still on the initial phases, we have signed that agreement with them to support us as and when there is a need on our platform.
Yeah. On support side, we are ensuring that the Namibian governing authority has also acknowledged how to improve their system, gets bug fixes and upgrades in time, and so on. And also, Namibian authority is supporting local entities, OMAs, the offices, ministries, and agencies to engage in this platform. So, all of this was past and the present. Now about where this project goes on. Actually, it's universal to every project, how to grow.
Yeah. Yes, we have realized, as someone emulated here, that our systems, the challenges we actually experienced was that our systems they were not re-engineered, the processes. So we felt, or a mandate was sent through from the Office of the Prime Minister that all our business processes need to be re-engineered to make sure that they're more efficient, so for effective delivery of services. So we have identified 6 pilot sites, or 6 pilot ministries, of which Minister of Finance, which is the ITAS, Integrated Tax Management System. We have the Human Capital Management System. We have the e-NATIS, which is the traffic integrated system. So all of that has to be re-engineered to make sure that we do not replicate or just automate old non-functional applications. So yeah, and we realized that although we do not have the statistics, we envisage that the impact of the implementation that we have and the fact that we can bring all of the e-services on this NAMX road, that we will be able to actually harness a lot of benefit for ourselves as officials of government, as well as for the public, that the citizens will no longer have to travel so far to the cities or travel to the regional council offices, but will be able to access all their services from their houses.
Okay, we are out of time.
Yep.
So actually, this is a last question I would ask from you. Think about it, because e-governance can be built in days, weeks, months, or years. In Namibia, as we went for full project with legalization and everything, it took several years, but it's your choice how to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the brilliant presentation. I'm sure that there are some questions in the audience. Just a moment, please use also the microphone because of the recording.
Yeah. May I know the outputs you have already established with this project? What are the outputs people could see as a result of this project?
Initially, before the project, or as the project was moving, we did have a couple of online services. But what we have at the moment is that we have implemented the exchange platform. And we are then adding the different services on it as they become available. We are building online services, or web services as they are called, but we need to re-engineer the actual back office systems to ensure that they do not, just duplicate the old. The online services that we already have are on the ministerial websites, and there's really, they're not on one-stop shop idea as yet, but that is where we are moving towards.
Right, thank you.
Okay, next question. Yes, please. Microphone there.
Yeah, at the core of this solution, I know there's the electronic signature framework that needs to be implemented.
Yes.
What was your experience in creating this exchange layer? Was Namibia already using electronic signature, or was it part of the implementation? How about the legal framework and all the things associated with it?
During this project with eGovernance Academy, we consulted Namibian General Attorney and the Parliament about the laws which need to be changed or modified. And currently, as already mentioned, the e-transaction law is in Parliament for the approval.
Mm-hmm. And then with regards to the e-identification, that's also part of the piloting. So once our laws are, because we're busy amending our identification law, so that it will then also feature the electronic part of it.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, there is one question, please.
Thank you. Mine is not particularly a question, but it's just to emphasize the question that I asked previously. In Namibia, the problem, I would want to say, that we are experiencing currently is, I think, our infrastructure has progressed fairly well. But the legal framework is what has crippled, I think, the advancement of the project per se. Because it was probably good I would want to say. But now, because because we lack the legal framework, most of the services could not continue. So now we had to go back to say, okay, fine. Now, while everything else is in place, we need to focus on creating the legal framework. So that's why I'm saying it's probably also necessary that while we're advocating for all this, to remain cognizant that we need that enabling framework always, because at the end of the day, it's very difficult to move as the country as a whole, because every ministry would be asking, but where's the law that mandates me to automate my functions? Where's the law that's going to protect this data? Because I deal with sensitive data. So sometimes it is really necessary, or at least I know in our experience, it was necessary to develop at least pari passu, the architecture and the systematic development of e-governance, as well as to fertilize the legal environment.
Yeah, thank you for a comment. Just to emphasize is that that's why we are doing pilots and workshops to spread the word and understanding within country, so the legal system also understands why we need it and how the legal framework must match the technical solution.
Okay, thank you very much for the comment and also for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.